Hello there, my brothers and sisters. It's Josh Packard. Hey, today I want to talk to you about love, but without knowing the Lord and the gospel, you have no hope of knowing what real love is. The word love that you use is vestigial. It's not even. It's not really love. It's an intense emotion you feel, but it's not love, and and you can't share it with somebody else. Your love is still transactional. If someone does this for you, then you'll do this for them. And there's that cycle that everyone knows of, is that that everyone is looking to be completed by the other person. I can't wait till I'm this is me 100%, you guys. I mean, I'm completely guiltier than heck on this. But you're always searching for somebody to fill you up, or to make your life meaningful, or to bring you happiness, and you're always seeking to have this with another person. The problem is that that's transactional, that you're depending upon them to fulfill you. And that's honestly the root of all hate, you guys. And so if you look everywhere in the world, I mean, love is transactional. Women, you know, women give sex to get love, and men give love to get sex. It's transactional. Um, Everything we do is transactional. We all have an opinion of what we would desire in a wife or a husband, and then we marry someone, then try to make them into what we want them to be, rather than marrying them for who they were. And this is the problem, because you can't possibly love somebody if you're changing them or trying to make them into what you think they ought to be. So let's look at what Jesus has done for us on the cross, what he did for us when he born of the virgin birth, and through the whole process to the up the ascension and coming back as the Holy Spirit. Um, Jesus doesn't need anything from us. He's full and entire. He does not need you or me at all. He doesn't need anything from you to make himself feel good, or to be fulfilled. He doesn't need us. But that's for our benefit, because that's where love begins, is because he 100% gives to us, and it's not transactional. He doesn't expect anything in return. He's a source of one directional love to you. Okay? He doesn't expect anything back. He's already given everything that he could give, he's already given to you 100%, and then said, yours. Whatever you do with it is yours. But just know I love you. Well, from that position, now he's actually the source of love. And that source can come into you, and if you let him. If you believe him that he loves you this much, and you consider him, and take the magnifying glass off yourself and off your partner, and put your magnifying glass on Jesus, and to see how he loves you. So what he does is he loves you to fill you up, so that you have no need to take from anyone else, that you're whole or holy. So from this position of being whole, now you can love somebody without desiring to change them, because you don't need them to fulfill you. Now your goal is to fill them. So you're able to just be patient and tolerant, let that person be themselves, because you're not seeking to change them anymore, because you don't need to. There's no need. You're not getting your fulfillment from them, or there's not the power struggle. There's not all this other stuff, because you don't care. You're genuinely interested in their well-being, and you'll do the things that are for their well-being. Okay? Because you have no need to take from them. You're satisfied spiritually, emotionally, financially. Everything that you are is satisfied. So now when you come into love, you have something to give, which is love again. And so you're you're one directional now, with no strings attached. You're just give, because blessed is he who gives rather than receives. It's more blessed to give than receive, and this is true. So as you give and you give and you give, because you're satisfied, because you're abiding in Christ all the time, satisfied, well, now that person can be satisfied. And so now you guys can share a life First off, because you've received Christ's love, you are satisfied, which is loving yourself. You're you're good where you're at because Christ has said so. From this position, you're able to then love your wife or your husband, um, and because you have no need to take, there's no transaction. It takes away all the transaction, and so that's what Christ did to us. That's why He saved us the way He did, is He took away any transaction. So I mean, it's commonly taught everywhere that, oh, you got to believe in Jesus or you got to do this for God or whatever. And it's like, well, no, you don't understand. That's transactional. You're thinking that Christ has some sort of need from you, that he requires your obedience, or He needs you to legitimize or validate Him in any way. And this is the common fallacy, and this is why nobody knows what love is even in the church, because they're not listening to what Jesus has said. And they don't see the whole purpose of what God has done and why He saved us while we're enemies to Him. Why He demonstrated His love while we were spitting on Him and murdering Him and beating Him and crucifying Him and doing this stuff, that He displayed it to us then. So that while we were enemies, we were reconciled. How could you even then lose it? Even by being an enemy now, you can't lose what you were given while you're an enemy. It doesn't make any sense, because then it becomes transactional again. Then once it becomes transactional, it's from a position of need, and then we've talked about this earlier, and then it's called the dominion of sin. So that now everything is ruled from your need, and so now you can't love anymore, because you're sucking. It's going the other way. You're sucking from people in order to satisfy yourself. You're seeking somebody to fulfill you. It's just me, not realizing it, even though you have this real strong feeling. And the problem is the other person's doing the same thing. So you guys both have these strong feelings of emotions, because you're relying on that person to fulfill you, and you feel that way for a short period of time. And so both of you are transactional, and both of you are saying, oh, how much I love him, and how much I love her, and we're just having it. And you guys you're constantly bickering, worrying about whether or not you're cheating on each other. You're you're completely outside of love, because you don't listen to Jesus. You're still scrutinizing yourself, and you're sanctimonious over your partner. I mean, everything you're doing is not love. It's actually what the Bible calls hate. It's transactional. And everything we do is transactional. Just like a prostitute. You're paying for their love. So they're paying for your love, and you're paying for their love. And so in the church today, if you're still trying to pay for Christ's love through your works and through your efforts, and trying to believe and be faithful and do all these things in order to receive from Christ, then you haven't received Him. You still have not believed what He said. You're still transactional in your experience. So the only way to break this chain is to know that Christ has done it. You are 100% reconciled. Where He is, you shall be too. There is no breaking that. That's why Christ gave it to you 100% without any reservation. He doesn't love just a little. He doesn't just give it. He doesn't love you by measure. He doesn't just give you a little bit, because if you're just a little more faithful, I'll give you a little more. He doesn't do that. That's Satan, whom you call Jesus. Okay? He doesn't do that. Jesus gives entirely. Here, that's all yours. I give you everything that I can give you. I don't have anything more to give you. Here you are. This is I don't need you. I don't need you anything from you. Christ does not need anything from us. Everything He did was one direction, so that you could then turn around in one direction the other way as well. I know. I mean, this stuff sounds hard. It is, trust me. Because you have to first repent of your idea of what love is, and what righteousness is, and see that it is wrong. Then you have to seek the Lord. And then learn what His ideas are, and how His idea of love is, and how He loves us. So that once you can receive that love, and once you receive that you are perfect in the Lord, perfect, holy, and entire, that you're perfect and unblameable in love before Him because of what Christ has done, that you have nothing left to pay, nothing left to do. It's all been done. So now you can give that to your partner, to your children. So your children, you're not putting the burden on them to make you happy. You're not having kids to make me feel complete, because there are many, many people out there that are having children to make themselves happy. And so they put the dependence upon their children even to make them happy. And so they still can't realize why they're not happy. Because they're supposed to make me happy, but they don't. I'm still depressed. Well, because you're still transactional even with your children. So there's no happiness in your life when you're transactional with everyone. You might have brief glimmers. I did. I know exactly what that's all about. Where you have this flash in the pan, this passion and emotion, and you're like, oh yeah, this is what love is. But it's wrong. And I remember having a teacher, I can't remember her name, back in the College of Sequoias Community College, but she said, what if I told you, to the whole class, she says, what if I told you that what you think love is not love? And she must have been a Christian, because I was like, yeah, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. I was like, just shut up. I don't even want your kind of gay love, this weak love, you know what I mean? And then you realize that she was right. Years later, I'm all, oops. And it stuck with me till today. So, anyways, folks, if you want the way out, if you want your relationships to change, we want the relationships in the church and the world to change, you want to reverse this divorce rate, quit watching Oprah. Quit listening to secular, stupid music and thinking that's what love is. Quit looking at these movies. I mean, you can just for entertainment, but to see, this is not love. Romeo and Juliet, that is not love. That is not love at all. That is actually hatred of each other. Look at what it ends in. And everybody say, oh, that's just love. No, it's not. Today, like everyone says love is love, and homosexuality is not love. Because that's, first of all, it's outside of God's directive. First thing. The second thing is it's based upon lust, and it's because it's outside of God's. It's not pure. It's not holy. So what it is you're using that other person to make you feel better, or to validate you, or to give you a sense of righteousness. The problem being is you don't love that person. It's transactional. Because if you love that person, you'd be seeking for them to be in the way of God, in the way of holiness, outside of homosexuality. You'd be pushing them to try to be straight. Transgendered, if you're being tolerant of these people and telling them, oh, they're just born in the wrong body. No, they're not. They've been a victim of this transactional love, which is hate. And honestly, look, the further away from God you go, the more it's manifested in perversion. Because perversion is the ultimate essence of needing to use somebody, or them needing to use you in order to get a sexual high, in order to get a sense of belonging, or as I use the word righteousness, because righteousness doesn't mean good. It means just to feel at home, to where you find a place to where you fit in, and that's what righteousness is. But the thing is that if you're still using that person to satisfy your lusts on, and they're using you to satisfy their lusts upon, then you know that it's not love. If somebody's transgendered, they don't even know what love is. They don't love themselves. They hate themselves so much they're trying to become another sex, so they can't possibly love. Feminists, you can't love because you're outside of God's order. Your whole life is being controlled by your feelings of oppression and need. So you can't love. Your relationships will fail over and over and over again, because first of all, you're outside of God's order. You're spitting in His face, telling Him His ways are wrong. I'm going to have my way. Secondly, though, that everything that you do is transactional, and so you're seeking to dominate men in order to feel good about yourself. So you probably likely use sex as a weapon. That's not love. If you're a mother or father addicted to other things, alcohol, drugs, and your children suffer, don't tell me you love them. Okay? Don't even try to tell me you love your children if you're letting addictions ruin your life, or ruin your marriage. Don't tell me that you love your wife if you're out there, if you're addicted to substances and you're putting them above your wife. Don't tell me you love her. Sorry, because you don't. I mean, it's sentimental at best. That she fulfills a need. It's called codependency, I guess. That's what would be a good word for it. She fulfills a need for you, and you fulfill a need for her. And I don't feel bad for anyone anymore. There's no victims because everybody's transactional. Everybody is using everybody. Even women in relationships where they're getting beaten, they they are getting something out of the relationship because there's a huge martyrdom angle that people always forget. People love to be the martyr, and they'll take a lot in order to be the martyr. Oh, poor me, poor me, look at this. But they never leave. They don't leave. Oh, it's because it's so hard to get out and the kids and blah, blah, blah. Well, I know it feels like that, but it's still because you don't love yourself and you don't love your children. Because anyway, it's on and on and on and on. But what we think love is not love. I know I'll probably get some heat for all this stuff, but I don't care. You guys, honestly, just look at yourselves. It's so clear to see from the outside and from somebody who has been loved of the Lord. Like me, I see because the Lord loved me. I was exactly that way. I mean, I beat the crap out of people over women and stuff that didn't even love me. I mean, I did stuff. I've shed blood. You know what I mean? I've shed my own blood. I've done stuff just in the name of love, and it was false. I mean, I know how powerful it is. You know, I would say I love women, and I'm out there, you know, partying and cheating on them and doing all this other stuff, and it's like, you know, um, anyway, I'm the same way, sanctimonious to the bone. I'm such a loser. Trust me. I'm the card carrying member of the White Knights. I'm just a complete douchebag. I mean, sorry for the language, but that's the way I was. Without the Lord, I would not know any of this stuff. I'd be towing the line, completely miserable, just like everyone else. So, I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to enjoy what the Lord has given you. But on top of this, it's so important that you do this and appropriate His righteousness and His love for you. And you have to do this because this is how we overcome the world. This is how God gets glorified on the earth, is through our love. So when Paul says, I could preach, I can do all these things, he says, but without love, I'm nothing. This is the love he's talking about. This is not about doing good deeds for people to feel good about yourself, even though that's okay, that's fine. Trust me, it totally just, if something makes you feel good, like you've done a good thing, go and do it. By all means, the Lord has given us as a gift to us. If we do good, we'll get good. I mean, that's just the period of it. We should definitely do everything that God says we can get a blessing for. So I am all for it. But you got to be careful not to get your righteousness from that. That you don't become sanctimonious. That you realize the only reason you have what you have is because God has given it to you. Okay? And on top of that, if you want to love people, you need to tell them that Christ loves them. That He's already given everything for them, that they have the full right to come home. They are welcomed in the beloved right now. They don't need to know that if you tell them that they have to believe to be saved, you are a part of the problem. You need to tell them that they are saved so that they'll believe. Okay? This is what love is. That's the only way to take the transaction out of it. Okay? Well, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, you feel free to ask. Because I know I'm a crackpot and people think I'm nuts. I don't care, honestly. I'm speaking to you as one that his eyes are open, that the Lord has spoken to me. The Lord has changed my life. The Lord has moved in my world to where I have stuff that my entire life I don't deserve. And I've got a really good life right now. I'm in a relationship that is loving, not perfect, no one is. But from where I was, now that I know what love is, I get a chance to exercise it on my wife and my children. I love them because Christ loves me, not because I need anything from them. I mean, the Lord, when my wife came around, when she finally showed up, there's something that God, it was like right then I knew it. Right around that time, I realized this. I was like, I don't need anything. I got to the place in my life where I don't need a wife. I don't need any kids because the Lord was everything to me. And it took me a long time to piece this together and how this operated. But then when my wife came along, um, I tried it to her unabashedly. I just loved her. I pursued her all the time. I made sure that she knew that she was the only one that was in my life, that there was no way that I could take her or that I would lose her. Oh, my daughter's waking up. There's my life. So, anyways, but I loved her the whole time. Not like I would do with another woman where I would be like, oh, well, if she does this, I'll come over or whatever. I just, no matter what, anytime she was afraid, I told her I love her. Anytime she was worried, I told her I loved her. I demonstrated. I went way out of my way to demonstrate my love for her and showed her what was really in my heart. I didn't try to play the games or anything else. And I have a wife that is so much more beautiful than me and so much more intelligent than me. And she's just such a great woman. I mean, moral, beautiful, everything. And I was like, it's this whole principle. And so then the way that she chose me is because I loved her unreservedly. Okay, and I don't deserve my wife, honestly. I mean, I'm probably hamming it up a little bit, but she's a really good woman. And then so now we're exercising it with each other and with our children. So we're constantly reminding each other of what Christ has done, and we love each other from the position of not having a need for each other. We love each other because Christ loves us, and that's something that is amazing to me. And so I have a very quiet, peaceful, enjoyable life. I'm not worried about whether or not I'm going to cheat on her or her on me. I'm not worried about. We don't have any substances in our house. We don't have anything. We barely even have TV. Um, it's just because we have no need for that stuff anymore. And I'm not saying this because we're good or because of any reason other than what the Lord has shown us. And as me being a man, and leading in my family, that's how I lead them, is that I love them unreservedly. I love my wife not because she deserves it or because she owes me something or I owe her anything. It's from the fact that we just love each other and we're comfortable. We don't I don't have to do anything to please my wife, and my wife doesn't have to do anything to please me. And my wife always remarks the reason why she fell in love with me is that I allowed her to be her. I didn't try to change her, fix her, or do anything else like this. I just loved her as she was. I didn't, and that's what earned her trust, and that's what earned her love for me, is not, and that's what, and that's the same way which Christ, how he got my love, is he loved me without any reservation. He loved me when I couldn't even love myself. He loved me even when he saw all the dirty, nasty stuff about me, and that's what changed me. What brought me to my knees before him is he loved me no matter what. And that's the relationship I want to share with my family. I want to love them like that. And there's my daughter. I've got to go, speaking of that. But you guys have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, feel free to chat. All right. Go out there and love. All right, guys. Bye.